Okay, let's settle in for a chat. You know that feeling sometimes. Maybe when you're watching your grandkids race around the park, or perhaps when you catch your reflection unexpectedly, and there's that quiet little thought about getting older. Not just the number, but about staying well, truly well, for all the years we hope are still ahead. It's that desire to keep up, to be independent, to really savor life, isn't it? It's completely understandable to think about these things, and frankly, it's important that we do. Because knowledge really is power, especially when it comes to our health as we navigate these later chapters. So, what I wanted to talk about today, just amongst us, is something that might sound a bit stark at first, but I promise you, the goal here is empowerment, not fear. Statistics show that after age 75, a very large percentage of deaths, nearly all of them, are linked back to just 5 main causes. Now, hearing that might make your stomach clench a little, and that's natural. But think of it this way. If we know what the major roadblocks are, we can be much smarter about navigating around them, can't we? Understanding these challenges doesn't mean dwelling on the negative. It means shining a light on the path forward so we can take proactive steps, make informed choices, and really focus on adding not just years to our life, but life to our years. That's the heart of it, staying as healthy and vibrant as possible for as long as possible. We'll explore these 5 main areas together. Think of it like looking at a map, identifying the tricky terrain so we can plan the best route. We'll touch upon issues related to our hearts and circulation, the concerns around cancer, challenges with breathing, keeping our minds sharp, and also the very real issue of accidents and falls. By looking at each one, we can uncover simple, practical things, many of which you might already be doing, perhaps without even realizing their full impact. That can significantly lower our risks and boost our overall well-being. It's about focusing on what we can influence. Let's start with the big one, something many of us are already mindful of: heart disease and stroke. These are essentially plumbing problems, aren't they? Over time, just like pipes in an old house, our blood vessels can get narrowed or blocked by fatty deposits called plaque. Our blood pressure might creep up, putting extra strain on the system. Sometimes, a clot can form and travel to the heart, causing a heart attack, or to the brain, causing a stroke. It sounds scary, and the consequences can certainly be serious, impacting everything from our mobility to our independence. Many of us might know someone, perhaps a friend, like my neighbor George, who ignored that recurring tightness in his chest for weeks, dismissing it as indigestion. He kept saying, "Oh, it's nothing," until one day it really was something. And thankfully, he got help just in time. His story is a potent reminder not to ignore what our bodies might be trying to tell us, even if it seems small. Persistent leg pain when walking, unusual shortness of breath, dizziness, or that chest discomfort. These warrant a chat with the doctor, not dismissal. But the wonderful news here is how much power we have to protect our hearts. It doesn't necessarily mean radical, unpleasant changes. Think about diet, for instance. It's not about deprivation. It's often about smart swaps. Maybe it's using olive oil instead of butter more often, choosing fish a couple of times a week, adding more colorful vegetables to your plate, or opting for whole grains instead of white bread. Small shifts, consistently made, add up significantly. Remember Mary from our walking group? She simply started adding a handful of spinach to her morning eggs and swapping her usual sugary cereal for oatmeal with berries. Simple changes, but over time, combined with her walks, they helped her get her cholesterol numbers into a much healthier range. And speaking of walking, movement is key. We're not talking about running marathons here. Gentle, regular activity is fantastic. A brisk walk around the block, gardening, dancing in your living room to your favorite old tunes, even chair exercises, if mobility is a challenge, it all counts. The goal is just to get your heart pumping a bit faster regularly. It helps manage weight, lower blood pressure, improve circulation, and even lifts our mood. Does finding ways to move that you actually enjoy sound more doable? It often makes sticking with it much easier. Of course, managing conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or diabetes is crucial too. This means working closely with your doctor, taking prescribed medications as directed, really understanding why you're taking them helps with adherence, and going for regular checkups. It's a partnership for your health. And let's not forget stress. Chronic stress puts a real strain on the heart. Finding healthy ways to manage it is vital. Maybe it's deep breathing exercises for a few minutes each day, spending time in nature, engaging in a hobby you love, or simply connecting with friends for a good chat and laugh. These aren't luxuries. They're essential components of heart health. Moving on to the second major area, which is often spoken about in hushed tones, cancer. The word itself can evoke a lot of fear, and that's completely understandable. Many of us have been touched by it, either personally or through loved ones. But here too, there's reason for optimism and a clear role for proactive steps. One of the most powerful tools we have against many types of cancer is screening and early detection. Think about it. Finding something when it's small and hasn't spread dramatically increases the chances of successful treatment. It's like finding a tiny weed in your garden, much easier to deal with than letting it take over the whole patch. This means staying up to date with recommended screenings, like colonoscopies, mammograms, pap tests, or skin checks, depending on your individual risk factors and your doctor's advice. I know, these procedures aren't exactly enjoyable. My friend Brenda used to put off her colonoscopy screening for ages, feeling anxious about the prep and the procedure itself. It took a gentle nudge from her daughter and a frank conversation with her doctor about the benefits versus the temporary inconvenience to finally get her to go. Thankfully, everything was clear, but the peace of mind she gained was immense. It's easy to find reasons to delay, isn't it? Life gets busy, or maybe there's that underlying worry about what they might find. But catching potential problems early is truly a gift we can give ourselves. Knowing your family history is also important here, as it can sometimes influence which screenings are recommended or how often you should have them. Make sure your doctor is aware of any cancer history in your close relatives. Beyond screening, lifestyle choices play a significant role in cancer risk as well. We hear about this all the time, but it bears repeating because it's true. Avoiding tobacco is probably the single most important thing you can do, and it's truly never too late to quit. The body starts to repair itself remarkably quickly. Maintaining a healthy weight through balanced nutrition and regular activity, similar to what helps our hearts, also lowers the risk for several types of cancer. Protecting our skin from excessive sun exposure by using sunscreen, wearing hats, and seeking shade helps prevent skin cancers, which become more common as we age. And moderating alcohol consumption is another piece of the puzzle. These aren't guarantees, of course, but they are powerful ways to stack the odds in our favor. It's about making conscious choices day by day that contribute to a healthier internal environment, making it less hospitable for cancer to develop or thrive. Think about adding just one more serving of vegetables to your dinner tonight, or choosing water instead of that second glass of wine. Small steps, consistently taken. Now, let's talk about breathing. As we get older, some changes in lung function are normal, but significant breathing difficulties that limit your activities are often due to chronic lower respiratory diseases, or CLRDs. This is a bit of an umbrella term that includes conditions like chronic bronchitis and emphysema, often grouped together as COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Essentially, these conditions make it harder to move air in and out of the lungs, often due to inflammation or damage to the airways and air sacs. Does that feeling of getting winded just walking up a flight of stairs, or having a cough that just won't quit, sound familiar to anyone? It's easy to brush it off as just getting older, but it could be a sign of something more. My Uncle Frank, a lifelong smoker, always downplayed his morning cough and shortness of breath. He'd joke about being a bit rusty. It wasn't until he couldn't walk to his mailbox without stopping to catch his breath that he finally saw his doctor and got diagnosed with COPD. Getting the diagnosis didn't magically cure him, but it opened the door to treatments and strategies that significantly improved his quality of life. He learned breathing techniques, started pulmonary rehabilitation exercises, and finally kicked the smoking habit. He often says he wishes he'd sought help sooner. The single biggest favor you can do for your lungs, without a shadow of a doubt, is to avoid smoking. If you do smoke, quitting is the most impactful step you can take at any age. The benefits start almost immediately. If you need help quitting, please talk to your doctor. There are many effective resources available now, from nicotine replacement therapies to support groups. Avoiding secondhand smoke and other lung irritants like air pollution, dust, or chemical fumes as much as possible is also important. Pay attention to air quality reports, especially if you have existing sensitivities. And don't underestimate the power of vaccinations. Getting your annual flu shot and the pneumococcal vaccine can prevent serious respiratory infections that can be particularly dangerous for those with underlying lung conditions. Keeping your lungs as healthy as possible involves protecting them from harm and preventing infections that could cause further damage. Simple exercises, even just deep breathing practices, can also help maintain lung capacity and efficiency. Next, let's turn our attention to something that causes a great deal of worry for many of us: changes in our memory and thinking. Specifically, the fear of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. It's natural to feel anxious when you misplace your keys for the third time in a week, or forget someone's name momentarily. We wonder, is this normal aging, or is it something more? It's important to acknowledge that some changes in cognitive function, like slightly slower processing speed or occasional forgetfulness, can be a normal part of getting older. However, dementia is different. It involves a more significant decline in cognitive abilities: memory, thinking, judgment, language, that interferes with daily life and independence. Forgetting where you parked your car is one thing. Forgetting how to get home is another. Seeing a loved one struggle with these changes, like my dear friend Eleanor, whose husband gradually lost his ability to recognize familiar faces, is heartbreaking and highlights why maintaining brain health is such a priority for so many of us. The encouraging news is that while we don't have a cure for Alzheimer's yet, research increasingly shows that lifestyle factors play a huge role in supporting brain health and potentially reducing the risk or delaying the onset of cognitive decline. Think of it as building cognitive reserve, creating a stronger, more resilient brain. What helps? Many of the same things that help our hearts. Regular physical activity is fantastic for the brain. It increases blood flow, delivers essential nutrients and oxygen, and may even help grow new brain cells. Again, this doesn't mean intense workouts. Consistent, moderate activity like walking, swimming, or dancing works wonders. Engaging your mind is equally crucial. Keep learning. Stay curious. Try puzzles. Read challenging books. Learn a new skill or language. Take a class. Play strategy games. Anything that makes you think and challenges your brain in new ways is beneficial. Think of it like exercise for your brain cells. Diet matters too. Diets rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, especially fish, and healthy fats, often referred to as the Mediterranean diet or the MIND diet, have been linked to better cognitive function and lower dementia risk. Limiting processed foods, sugary drinks, and unhealthy fats is also wise. And remember how we talked about managing cardiovascular risk factors like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes for heart health? Well, those same factors are strongly linked to brain health too. What's good for the heart is truly good for the head. Finally, never underestimate the power of social connection. Staying engaged with friends, family, and your community provides vital mental stimulation, emotional support, and a sense of purpose, all of which contribute to cognitive resilience. Isolation, on the other hand, can be detrimental. Making that effort to call a friend, join a club, or volunteer can have profound benefits for your brain. It's about nurturing not just your physical health, but your mental and social well-being too. This brings us to the fifth major area we need to talk about. Something that might seem less like a disease, but is incredibly significant for health and independence in later life. Accidents, particularly falls. It might surprise you, but falls are a leading cause of injury, hospitalizations, and even death among older adults. A fall can be devastating, not just physically, causing fractures, head injuries, and chronic pain, but also emotionally. It can lead to a fear of falling, which then causes people to become less active, lose strength and balance, and ironically, increase their risk of falling again. It can feel like a downward spiral, sometimes leading to a loss of independence that we all value so dearly. You might know someone, perhaps a neighbor or relative, who had a fall at home, maybe tripping over a rug or slipping in the bathroom, and it really changed things for them. My Aunt Jean had a fall last year, broke her hip, and while she recovered physically after surgery and rehab, the fear lingered. She became much more hesitant to go out alone or even move around her own home freely. It really impacted her confidence and her social life. It's a common scenario, and it highlights why fall prevention is so incredibly important. The good news is that most falls are preventable. There are many practical steps we can take to make ourselves and our environment safer. Let's start with the home. Take a look around with fall prevention eyes. Are there loose rugs or carpets that could be trip hazards? Secure them with double-sided tape or remove them altogether. Is there adequate lighting, especially in hallways, stairs, and bathrooms? Night lights can be very helpful. Are frequently used items easy to reach, or do you need a step stool? Make sure it's a sturdy one. Consider installing grab bars in the bathroom, by the toilet, and in the shower or tub. These simple modifications can make a huge difference. Our bodies play a role too, of course. Regular vision checks are essential. Poor eyesight can easily lead to trips and stumbles. Make sure your eyeglass prescription is up to date. It's also wise to have your doctor or pharmacist review your medications periodically. Some medications, or combinations of medications, can cause side effects like dizziness or drowsiness that increase fall risk. Sometimes, adjusting the dosage or timing can help. And critically, we need to work on our strength and balance. Specific exercises can significantly improve stability and reduce fall risk. Simple things like standing on one foot, holding on to a counter for support initially, heel-to-toe walking, or doing chair stands, sitting down and standing up from a chair repeatedly without using your hands, can build strength in key leg muscles and improve balance. Tai Chi is another excellent activity known for its balance-enhancing benefits. Even just being generally active helps maintain muscle tone and coordination. Don't forget proper footwear. Shoes should fit well, have non-slip soles, and provide good support. Avoid walking around in socks or floppy slippers. And if you need an assistive device like a cane or walker, use it. There's no shame in using a tool that helps you stay safe and mobile. It's a sign of strength, not weakness, to use the support you need. Taking these proactive steps can empower you to stay steady on your feet and maintain your independence. So, as we've journeyed through these 5 key areas: heart health, cancer prevention and detection, respiratory wellness, brain health, and fall prevention, you can see how interconnected they often are, can't you? The same healthy habits, like regular gentle exercise and a balanced diet, benefit almost every aspect of our well-being. It's not about adopting 5 separate, overwhelming plans. It's about embracing a holistic approach to healthy living. Managing blood pressure helps your heart, your brain, and even reduces fall risk associated with dizziness. Staying active strengthens your muscles for balance, benefits your heart and lungs, and boosts your mood and cognitive function. It all works together. The main message I hope you take away from our chat today isn't one of worry about hitting a certain age, but one of hope and control. While we can't stop the clock, we absolutely can influence the quality of the time we have. By understanding the main health challenges that become more common later in life, we can focus our energy on the preventative actions and lifestyle choices that make the biggest difference. It's about being informed, proactive partners in our own healthcare. Remember, it's rarely about perfection. It's about progress. Small, consistent steps truly add up over time. Maybe it's deciding to take that walk today, adding more vegetables to your next meal, scheduling that screening you've been putting off, or doing a quick safety check around your home. Each positive choice is a step towards a healthier, more vibrant future. Be patient and compassionate with yourself on this journey. You have the power to make choices that nurture your health and allow you to continue enjoying the people and activities you love for years to come.